How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish, and today we're going dumpster diving for performance. That sounded a lot better in my head. Now, for those of you just tuning in, this is my 1999 Lexus SC400, and it is the rustiest example in the world. I don't know that for sure, but if you look underneath, it is all there. And I've been working really hard to try to get all that rust off in order to sell this to somebody that actually wants to drive a really nice, really clean, really sorted Lexus at the end. But I don't want to give the next owner just any bone stock Lexus. I want to give him something a little bit more special, but I don't want to spend a lot of money because I'm pretty cheap. So today we're going to be focusing on an area of the car where there can be a lot of improvement, but for a little bit of cash. And that is these old rusty brakes. Now, these brakes, when they were brand new, they were a little bit underpowered because this is a heavy car. It's about 3,900 pounds, and honestly, I don't know what Lexus was thinking when they put these brakes on there, but these were the good ones. The SC400's got a little bit better brakes than the SC300, and the later models got a little bit better brakes than the earlier models. So this is the best braking option on the Lexus SC, and still, it's not very good. It's a 2-piston caliper, it's a sliding caliper, and it comes with this iron rotor, and it's just, this one is in really bad shape, so it needs fixing anyway. It needs replacement and overhaul. So I decided to do one better and do a big brake upgrade with a minimal economic footprint. So I'm going to be replacing this worn out, disgusting rusty rotor with this thing. Ooh. Ooh, this is nice. So this is a cross-drilled and slotted rotor, and it gives way better heat dissipation and brake life and all that good stuff than this nastiness. We're also going to be changing out the caliper, and the caliper is this thing. We don't want to put another one of these on. We want to upgrade. So we're going to upgrade to this. This is a Lexus LS400 caliper. It's made by Sumitomo. It's 4-piston. It's a floating caliper, so the rotor rides in here. There still are brake pads in here. We're not going to be reusing these, but this is our Junkyard upgrade. This was a very cheap upgrade. This caliper, the front 2 calipers that you'll need for this swap, are about $100 from any Junkyard. This was just a pull-off that I got from eBay, but you can actually get these a lot cheaper if you go to YouPull It and look up a 95 to 2000 LS400. So this old rotor is about 11 inches in diameter, and while that is okay for cars built in 1999, it's not good enough for today. This one is 12.5 inches in diameter, and if you don't think that 1.5 inches is a big deal, then you probably have really good genetics. But for the rest of us, you definitely will feel the difference of 1.5 inches increase in this little guy. Are we still talking about brakes here? Now, this mod doesn't just apply to the Lexus SC, even though it's really popular on this platform. You can do it on a Supra, which it actually would be an upgrade if you have an NA and they have basically the same brakes as this. It would be an upgrade for a GS300, older LSs, and I believe it also goes on the IS300, so that is a really nice, really cheap upgrade that you guys can do. They're very plentiful. But without further ado, I think we need to start wrenching because yeah, this isn't going to come off by itself, or maybe it will. It is pretty rusty. So this is a pretty easy mod to do. There are 2 bolts on the back of this caliper, the entire caliper, not just the caliper carrier. You have to take this entire thing off, and also we have to pinch off this brake line in the back. I don't know if, yeah, you can definitely see that. So we're going to pinch that off with a vice grip and a towel. That is a really ghetto, but it's a really good way of pinching it off. We're going to disconnect the line. And we are going to have to cut this dust shield that goes around here just because the newer rotor, the diameter is bigger, so that's going to come into contact with our lip here. But we're only going to have to trim that back with a angle grinder. And then we're going to remove the rotor. And the rotor, I don't think it's going to give us too much of a fight because I have moved this before when I took off the wheel, and that was a pain. But I think with some hammering, we can get this off no problem. So this is the first time this has ever happened to me. Usually the rotor stays on the hub and you have to get it out with a hammer. Rotor fell off, but it fell off with the caliper here. And this is the first time I've ever seen something like this happen. Oh, it's pissing brake fluid all over me. But that's okay, because I have my Wrench Everyday shirt, and this is 100% certified to get dirty. So if you're just like me and you want to get dirty and you can't seem to keep yourself clean, get one of these shirts. It supports my channel. Every single dollar I make off these shirts goes directly into one of these builds. Well, not this one, but like a more interesting one. So we got this one, we got another shirt you might like. So check it out, link in the description. But yeah, I've never seen this before. I'll just give you another look before this pisses on me again. This is nuts. Okay, so what we have to do on the hub is basically cut the lip off the dust shield and also the lip off the bottom. And I'm gonna do that with this cutoff wheel die. This is an angle grinder. It's not a die grinder. It's an angle grinder, and I should know this because it probably says it somewhere. But we're gonna just make a clean cut right here. After that, we're gonna start mocking up the caliper and rotor, and then it'll start to look like something. But for now, gotta get to cutting. And always remember, safety first. Hey, we got the new rotor on. Don't worry, it is dirty, but it's gonna get cleaned up. And actually, is this the way it's supposed to be? Is that the direction? Yes. I'm gonna go double check. All right, upon Googling, I found out that this is indeed the right direction for the rotors. You wanna have the vanes kind of spitting in that direction because the car is gonna be going that way. So a word of advice for those of you who are looking to do this, sometimes these calipers are symmetrical. I know it doesn't apply here, but on some big brake kits, I know the 300ZX big brake kit on Nissans are very popular, and those actually are symmetrical. You can mix them up left and right. The way to know which side you're doing, and the way to know you got the correct caliper on the right side, is that this thing, the bleeder, is on the top. So you want to have this on the top. If the bleeder's on the bottom like this, you got it screwed up because the air has to escape through the top and air does not escape through the bottom. And that's how you know you have the right caliper on the right side. Now, what we have to do to this caliper is we have to grind it down slightly on the bracket. I'm not sure where in the bracket it is. I might have to take this off just to kind of visualize it, but it should be very, very minor. So the mock-up of the caliper is complete. It fits. I did have to do a little bit more trimming, but that's why we do the mock-up. Another thing that's important to note is that the bolts for the caliper itself that attach it onto the hub, they're a little bit too long for this one. So instead of cutting bolts or getting new hardware, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of a washer. I mean, it's just a little washer. A little washer on each bolt, and it should even it out because right now it is protruding just a little bit, and we don't want that hitting the rotor when the rotor is spinning. So we're gonna make that nice and flush, and right now we're gonna make this thing nice and beautiful. All right, now comes the easy and fun part, the painting process. So I'm using Duplicolor caliper paint. Just get it at your nearest AutoZone or Advanced Auto Parts or whatever. I think one can should do it. This is a semi-gloss. Actually, I think this is a gloss. This is a pretty glossy. So I'm gonna do 2 to 3 coats, and that should give us a nice, durable finish. And as you can see, it's gonna be silver, which matches the color of the car. and I didn't want to go red or yellow or something gaudy like that because this is a Lexus. It's supposed to exude luxury, and I think that's what we're gonna get with this. So right now, all I have to do is spray this down with some degreaser, clean it off, and then start spraying. We'll also open up the garage because I don't want to suffocate in here. So it's a new day, it's a new me, and those brakes still aren't on there, so we have to change that. Bam! That's pretty good, doesn't it? That is a very good looking brake setup, and for about 150 bucks, including the calipers, rotors, and all the paint associated with it, this is a great mod to do on any Lexus of this vintage. So next up is the brake pads, and then we're almost done. Before we install the brake pads, I want you guys to know that when you put on a new rotor, anytime you put on any new brake components, always give them a quick spritz with the brake cleaner. Because what that does is that removes the oil, and there is oil on there from the packing. Yeah, a quick spritz on the front and the back will make sure that you're getting 100% of your rotor instead of getting the oil and contaminants on your brake pads, because then you'll have to change your pads prematurely and you'll have problems on bedding in the brakes, but we don't have to worry about that because we did it right. Also, when you're installing the brake pads, you want to make sure that you get some caliper grease on the far side, because you don't want metal to metal contact, even if it's on the shims, because that's when the coating wears away and that it can introduce rust. So you always want to have this nice and lubed up. Actually, I think I put a little too much. You can just kind of spread it around a little bit. But also make sure that this doesn't get on this side of the pad, because yeah, that you don't want grease on your pads. Now that I turned the wheel and I can get to the back of the hardware, this is a really good time to get a torque wrench and torque the back bolts. This calls for 66 foot-pounds, but usually it's somewhere around 60 to 70 foot-pounds. So make sure to snug them up and torque them to spec. Keep in mind, my suspension is moving all around just because I don't have the subframe connected there. But that shouldn't happen on your car. Now comes the fun part, which is taking off this line and reattaching the old one. And now we can take off the clamp that's on the line. Give everything a nice, good clean with brake cleaner, and you should have a nice, clean caliper that is ready for many, many miles of abuse. So the only thing left now is to bleed the brakes, and bleeding the brakes is somewhat of a convoluted process, mainly because it is messy and you usually have to use two people. But you could do one thing, which is use one of these. This is a motive power bleeder, and it uses vacuum. Let's see, there you go. It creates a vacuum in here. It's like a vacuum canister, and you just connect it to your master cylinder, and then it pumps in new brake fluid. All you have to do is open up the bleeder here, and it makes the job a lot easier. However, this is like $100, and on a budget brake setup, we don't have that kind of money, so we're gonna recruit a friend. However, sometimes friends make things a little worse. This is how bleeding the brakes should go down. Press down and hold. Okay, it's down. Release. Good. But this is how it usually goes down. All right, press it down. Okay, it's down. Good. Good? No, don't let go. No. I meant that it's working. Not that it's good that it's working. Okay, we have to try again. We have to try again. Okay, it's down. Wait, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Okay, now go. Okay, it's down. Hold on, dude, I gotta take this. Hello? Oh, come on! Every single time. So with the brakes bled and everything out of the way, you should be well on your way to having an awesome brake setup. And I think that's where we're gonna end here. Now, make sure that when you install any sort of big brake upgrade, you make sure that you know what wheels and tires you're using, because the big brakes, they do stick out a bit more than the stock ones do. If they don't fit, that isn't a big issue, because you can always get a small spacer and just make sure that it's good quality and it's not gonna break on you. So this was a quick one. It did take 2 days, but it's only because I needed the paint to dry and I didn't want to get all these, all my greasy mitts all over this nice new paintwork. But this should take about a few hours, depending on how rusty your components are and how easy it is for you to get in there. I did have a lift, but I didn't end up using it actually. I did most of the work on my knees. And that didn't sound right. But this kind of thing is in the wheelhouse of any backyard or front yard or garage mechanic, just doing it yourself. So I hope you like that. If you like this video, and I hope you do, consider subscribing. Subscribe to my channel or hit that little bell next to the subscribe button so you can see all my videos as soon as they come out. If you want to support me, you want to support this channel and support my builds and, well, again, not this one, the more interesting ones, the ones that actually cost a lot of money, then you can buy one of these shirts. And the link will be in the description below for those shirts. If you'd like to contact me for any reason at all, car questions, personal questions, not too much on the personal questions, but at The Real Tavarish is where I'm at. That is Instagram and Twitter. Facebook.com/AskTavarish and AskTavarish@gmail.com is my email. And I do read every single email. So without further ado, I think that is gonna be it. And until next time, this is me telling you that on cars like this that now have awesome brakes, you guys need to wrench every day.